He left me at a deserted rest stop at midnight, no phone, no wallet, no way home. I watched his taillights fade into the dark highway, and my heart shattered with them. But what he didn't know was that one single phone call, from a payphone flickering under the broken neon light, would turn his perfect little world into ashes before sunrise. Because when you abandon a woman who built you from nothing, she knows exactly where to strike. The night was heavy, the air cold enough to bite at my skin. I could still hear the echo of the car door slamming, the dull thud that marked the end of something I once thought would last forever. Ethan hadn't said a word before driving off, just looked at me with eyes that held nothing. No guilt, no hesitation, only absence, and then he was gone. I stood there for a long moment, frozen, trying to process what had happened. The highway stretched endlessly on either side, silent except for the occasional rush of a passing truck. A vending machine hummed somewhere behind me, flickering like it too was tired of existing. My chest hurt so deeply I thought I might collapse right there on the cracked pavement. It had been such an ordinary evening before it turned into the worst night of my life. Dinner with his mother, the same strained smiles, the same polite conversation. I remember holding Ethan's hand under the table, feeling how cold it was, how tense his fingers had become. Something had been wrong for months. He came home late, smelled like perfume that wasn't mine, stared through me instead of at me. I told myself it was work stress. That was my first mistake, believing the man I loved still had enough honesty left to look me in the eye. Now, standing in the middle of nowhere, I realized just how cruelly calculated his silence had been. He'd chosen this rest stop on purpose. It wasn't just random, it was perfect for disappearing. There were no cameras, no gas station attendant, no witnesses. He wanted me out of the picture without confrontation, without guilt. I was supposed to vanish quietly into the dark so he could start over with her. I didn't even know her name yet, but I could feel her shadow everywhere, lingering on his shirt, his phone, his distance. I tried to stay calm. Panic wouldn't help me. I searched my pockets for my phone, my wallet, nothing. He'd taken everything. My throat tightened as realization hit. He had planned this. I walked toward the dimly lit building. The only light came from a grimy payphone mounted to the wall. It looked ancient, as though it hadn't been used in years, but I pressed the receiver to my ear anyway, half expecting dead air. Then came the soft hum of a dial tone. Relief. My hands trembled as I dialed the only number I could remember by heart, Maya's. My best friend since high school, the one person who'd always told me I deserved more than what I settled for. She picked up after 2 rings. Lena, it's past midnight. What's wrong? Her voice cracked something inside me, and for a moment, I couldn't speak. I just stood there, the cold wind cutting across my face, trying not to sob into the phone. Maya, he left me, I whispered. At a rest stop. He just drove away. There was a pause. Then, quietly, where are you? I glanced around, the sign behind me half lit. Highway 62. About 40 miles from the city. Stay there, I'll come get you. No, I said quickly. My voice steadied, even as tears burned my eyes. No, don't, just listen. I think he's with someone. I think. Maya exhaled slowly. Lena, you need to sit down. My stomach dropped. Why? Because it's true. Her name's Talia. She works at his firm. People have seen them together for weeks. I didn't want to tell you unless I was sure, but tonight, they were at the same hotel. The world tilted. I leaned against the wall, the phone cord twisting around my wrist. I could hear the distant roar of a truck passing, but it sounded miles away. He left me for her, I said, more to myself than to Maya. He actually did it. I'm so sorry, she murmured. Come stay with me. Forget him. You don't need. But I wasn't listening anymore. The tears had stopped. Something colder had taken their place, a sharp, cutting clarity. He'd used me. Every bit of kindness, every sacrifice, every hour I spent helping him build his company. I had written his proposals, handled his finances, stood by him when his world fell apart. And this was my reward. Abandonment in the middle of nowhere, stripped of dignity and belongings. He had made one mistake though. He'd underestimated me. Maya, I said slowly, you still have that old USB drive I gave you. The one with Ethan's client data. There was hesitation on her end. Lena, what are you thinking? Just answer me. Yes, I still have it. Good. Keep it safe. Don't open it. Not yet. Lena, please, don't do anything you'll regret. I smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. He should have thought about that before he left me here. After hanging up, I stared at the payphone for a long moment. The metal was cold beneath my fingertips. A part of me wanted to scream, to collapse, to curse him and fate and everything else. But another part of me, the part he'd always underestimated, was quietly plotting. I walked toward the road, flagging down the first pair of headlights I saw. It was a truck driver, kind-faced, middle-aged. When he saw my tear-streaked face, he didn't ask too many questions. He drove me to the nearest small-town motel, where I used the emergency cash hidden in my boot to pay for a room. Inside, I sat by the window, watching the rain begin to fall. Each drop hit the glass like a countdown. I opened the laptop I always carried in my backpack and connected to the motel's slow Wi-Fi. Ethan had forgotten that I still had access to some of his work drives. I helped set up his accounts, managed his invoices. I knew where every cent went. As I dug deeper, the pattern became clear. Money was missing. Transfers made to shell accounts. Invoices falsified. He'd been committing fraud, covering his tracks through the very systems I'd helped him design. And in every file, my name was somewhere in the corner, co-signed, co-approved, responsible. That's when I understood why he'd left me. It wasn't just about love or lust. It was about convenience. If he disappeared, the blame would fall on me. But he forgot that I was still breathing, still thinking, still capable of burning his lies to the ground. I picked up the motel phone and dialed another number, a contact from my old job. Someone who owed me a favor. A compliance officer who once said, "If you ever find something illegal, call me first." When he answered, I spoke quietly but firmly. I gave him Ethan's name, the file paths, the account numbers. Every detail. Then I made one last call. "Who is this?" a groggy female voice asked. "It's Lena," I said. "The woman he left at a rest stop tonight." Silence. Then a sharp inhale. I'm sorry," she said softly. "I didn't know." "Yes, you did." My voice was calm now, frighteningly calm. "Check your inbox. You'll know everything by morning." When I hung up, I stared at my reflection in the window. The woman looking back at me wasn't broken anymore. She was steady, quiet, composed. Outside, thunder rolled across the horizon. Somewhere miles away, Ethan was probably laughing, thinking he'd finally escaped me. But by dawn, the world he'd built on deceit would start to crack. Because sometimes, it only takes one phone call to remind someone who they really left behind. He thought he'd escaped. He thought I would stay quiet, cry myself to sleep, and disappear from his story like a forgotten chapter. But what Ethan didn't know was that silence can be the loudest weapon of all, and that night, while he slept beside his new lover, his empire began to fall apart piece by piece, starting with a single notification on his phone. The morning after he abandoned me, Ethan woke up in a hotel suite overlooking the city skyline. The sheets smelled of expensive perfume, champagne, and betrayal. For the first time in months, he felt light, free. Talia lay beside him, her hand draped lazily over his chest, her lips curved in a small, self-satisfied smile. He stretched, glanced at his phone, and saw a flood of missed calls and messages. At first, he ignored them. Then his phone buzzed again, this time with the unmistakable tone of an email alert from his company's legal department. The subject line made his blood run cold. Urgent. Internal investigation. Miles and Partners accounts. He sat up instantly, heart hammering. The glow of his phone screen illuminated Talia's sleepy face as she blinked at him in confusion. "What's wrong?" she asked, yawning. "Nothing," he muttered, typing furiously. But as he scrolled through the emails, panic began to take shape. His assistant had written, "Ethan, compliance flagged your transactions. External auditors notified. Accounts frozen until further notice." He stared at the words, trying to make sense of them. Frozen. Auditors. Someone must have tipped them off. But who? Only two people knew the full scope of his accounts, him, and Lena. His fingers went numb. No, it couldn't be. She wouldn't dare. She was too soft, too forgiving, too in love. "Ethan," Talia said again, sitting up now. "What's happening?" He turned the screen toward her. She read the email once, then again, her expression shifting from concern to disbelief. "Wait, what is this? You're being investigated. It's nothing serious, he lied, forcing a laugh. Probably a clerical issue. But then her phone buzzed too. A new email notification popped up, one from an anonymous sender. Subject line: the man beside you. Her brows furrowed as she opened it. Ethan leaned over to look, but she pulled the phone closer, scanning the contents with widening eyes. Attached were dozens of documents, bank statements, contracts, invoices, all showing proof of fraud. His signature was on every single one. Ethan, she whispered, what is this? He snatched the phone from her, but it was too late. The truth was there in black and white. His fake transfers, his falsified invoices, his misuse of client funds. Every lie, exposed. Who sent this? He demanded, but he already knew. His hands shook as he threw on his clothes, muttering curses under his breath. He tried to call his office, but no one answered. The company chat had been locked. Even his partner, George, had removed him from the internal group. His phone rang again, unknown number. He answered. Who is this? A familiar voice drifted through the speaker, calm and steady. You sound awake. That's good. He froze. Lena, you left me at a rest stop, Ethan, I said softly. But don't worry, I didn't stay there long. Lena, what have you done? I told the truth, I replied. Something you were never brave enough to do. You have no idea what you're starting, he hissed. Oh, I do. I helped build your company, remember? I know every corner you cut, every deal you lied about, every dollar you stole. You wanted me gone because I was inconvenient. But you forgot something important, I kept everything. Lena, listen. No, I cut him off. You listen. You wanted freedom. Now you have it. No money, no reputation, no one left to lie to. Enjoy your new life. And with that, I hung up. Ethan stood there for a long moment, breathing hard, phone still pressed to his ear as if he could pull me back from the silence. Talia sat on the bed, shaking her head, tears welling in her eyes. You used me, she said. You told me she was crazy, obsessed with you. You didn't tell me she helped build your business. Don't believe her, he pleaded. She's lying, trying to destroy me. But as Talia scrolled through the files again, she saw the timestamps, the signatures, the emails from his own address. She didn't need convincing anymore. Get out, she whispered, her voice breaking. Get out, Ethan. By noon, he had nowhere left to go. The firm's lawyers had called, demanding explanations. His accounts were frozen, his investors furious, his reputation shredded across social media. News outlets were already picking up the story, rising tech star accused of fraud and embezzlement. He called his mentor. No answer. His business partner. Blocked. Even his own mother refused his call. Every bridge he'd built burned faster than he could reach it. That evening, he drove aimlessly down the highway, the same road where he'd left me. The sun was setting in a blaze of red, painting the horizon like an open wound. His hands gripped the steering wheel until his knuckles turned white. He pulled into the rest stop without thinking. The same cracked pavement. The same hum of the vending machine. The same flickering light. Only this time, it was him standing there alone. He stepped out, the air cold against his face. And that's when he saw it, taped to the payphone, fluttering in the wind. A small piece of paper. He walked closer, heart pounding. The note was written in my handwriting. You left me here. I rebuilt myself. Now you can start over too, if you know how. He sank down on the curb, running a hand through his hair, his mind racing with memories of the woman he had taken for granted, the woman who had believed in him when no one else did. He remembered late nights when I stayed up proofreading his reports, the times I reassured him when he wanted to give up, the countless sacrifices I made because I believed in the man he could be. And in that moment, Ethan realized he hadn't just lost his company. He had lost the only person who ever saw his potential before the world did. Meanwhile, miles away, I was sitting by Maya's window, sipping coffee as the morning news replayed his downfall. Maya stared at the screen, wide-eyed. You really did it, she said softly. I shook my head. No, he did. I just stopped protecting him. I wasn't smiling. There was no joy in watching someone you once loved fall apart. But there was peace, a calm that came from knowing I had survived what was meant to destroy me. I deleted every file, every message, every reminder of him. Then I opened my laptop and began building my own consulting firm, one founded on transparency, empathy, and integrity. The lessons I learned from him became the foundation of something new, something mine. Weeks later, an email appeared in my inbox. It was from Ethan. The subject line read simply, "I'm sorry. I didn't open it. Some stories don't need sequels. Because sometimes revenge isn't about revenge at all. It's about reclaiming your power, your peace, your name." I didn't destroy him. I just let the truth speak louder than his lies. And when you've been left in the dark long enough, even a single spark can burn the world down.